Welcome to Ocean County Focus. I'm Donna Flynn, your host. Joining me today is the Deputy Director of the Ocean County Board of Commissioners, Gary Quinn, and we're going to be talking about county programs and services and how they affect the Ocean County budget. Thank you so much for joining me today, Commissioner.
Thank you,
It's
Donna.
good to see you. This time of year, we're talking about the first quarter of the year. One of the things, the big focus is really of the Board of Commissioners is the county budget.
Correct.
And I know that you work very closely with Commissioner Jack Kelly as co-chairs of the Finance Department. And what I wanted to do today is chat with you about the funding and how it affects your programs in particular, or the programs that you serve as liaison to. But first I wanted to talk a little bit in general about the budget. How does this impact the county taxpayer this year?
Well, this year we actually introduced our budget this week at our meeting on Wednesday, and we're looking at a budget of roughly about $552 billion.
Million dollars.
I'm sorry, $1 million, which oversees, the money itself is the money that we have to utilize during the course of the year for all the different programs, departments that we have, all of the staff that we have. It encompasses basically everything the county government is involved in.
Right.
The budget this year, in the eyes of the commissioners, is a very good budget because we've been able to take and lower the tax rate again by 2 cents this year. And it's actually the lowest tax rate over the last 10 years. And even looking at that, over the last 7 years, the board has been successful in keeping the tax rate down every year. We've been able to reduce it. This year, we're reducing it by 2 cents.
Right.
So it's a very good budget. It's a very conservative budget, but it also makes sure that we have all the dollars available that we're going to need to be able to take and run the programs and everything that we do as county government. So.
When you're looking at developing a budget of this size, really, what are the priorities that you look at? I mean, I'm also guessing that, not guessing, but I'm sure that you work with your department directors and the like for their suggestions, or their looking for their allocations and stuff. So how does that work?
Yeah, what we do is, like it was said at the meeting this week, our budget process actually starts directly after the current budget is adopted.
Right.
So the budget that we have right now, we have a public hearing in April. We'll adopt the budget in April, and believe it or not, come May and June, we'll start working on the next budget for next year. It's a long process because you take the budget that's in place, right? It will be in place this year. Look at what we have in place, what we're going to need, adding to that. But it's not the 5 commissioners that really make this work nor put it together. It's a team effort. We have all of our departments involved in it. We have our CFO, the finance department. We actually have to take into play the tax administrator, because the tax administrator is the one that brings the money into the county.
Right.
And we've been very fortunate over the last number of years that our ratables continue to climb. Our tax base this year is the highest that it's ever been. I think we're coming in at $121 billion, which is the highest the county's ever seen, and considerably more than we were at when we had Superstorm Sandy.
Yeah, I wanted to actually touch on that a little bit too. So Ocean County has seen a full recovery then.
100%.
Because there was a time there. If you look at the 2008-9 years, and then a couple of years later, the county was really devastated by Superstorm Sandy. So you're back and we're back ahead of it. Or?
Yeah. I think when Sandy hit, we were down below $109 billion, and now it's continued to grow each year. So we're in good shape as far as financial, status of the county goes itself. But Ocean County is kind of unique because, unlike a lot of the other counties throughout the state of New Jersey, even with inflation and all the problems that the economy is having these days, people still want to move down here.
Right.
So our base is growing consistently every year. Certain areas of the county are certainly growing faster than others, but it continues to add to the base as we move forward. And we really didn't think we would see the kind of increase this year that we saw, but fortunately it's continuing to go in that area, which is great. But unfortunately, at the same time, when you have an increase in the amount of people moving into the area, other problems come along with it. Roadways, traffic, all different things. So we have to take a look at everything. Just Ocean County has a population of roughly 630,000 people, but in the summertime we grow to 1.3 million. So the budget has to take and be able to handle not only the winter months where we have the lower population, but the summer months, and programs, roadways, traffic, social programs. senior services, veteran services, all this stuff has to be incorporated into the budget.
Sure.
And I'm happy to say that everything, in my eyes, everything's been incorporated, and we're going to be in good shape going into this year as well, being able to continue to provide the services. So.
Has the county been able to maintain the AAA bond rating? I know that's important to the
Without a
Board of
doubt, yeah.
Commissioners.
The AAA bond rating has been in place for probably about 20 years now, and it continues to stay in place, and that's really a testament to the finance office and our administrator, assistant administrator, all the people at the top that really make sure they oversee the departments. The departments go to them, they come to us. So it's a team effort. We all work together and
Sure.
make sure we do. But that's the most important thing. When Freeholder Bart was alive, he was the key to that
Yes.
that occurring, and we certainly want to make sure moving forward his legacy is kept intact, and we continue to do that. Because it's the best thing that we could possibly do for the residents of Ocean County.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Another portion of the budget, although it does not impact, well, it affects the budget, but it doesn't impact it in property taxes or anything like that, is funding that you're seeing from the American Rescue Plan Act.
Right.
And I just wanted to talk to you about the county has allocated $25.4 million of a $59 million appropriation that you have in hand, if you will.
Right, that we
and I wanted
received.
to talk to you a little bit about how are you prioritizing how that money is used?
Well, we have, like you said, we've received $59 million. Overall, the appropriation that we're going to be receiving is twice that amount. They sent us, half of the money now, and they could send us the other half further down the road. But what we've done is we've gone out and made it public that this is money that's come into the county,
Right.
And we put the word out there that any requests that people have, we'll certainly take and put them into the review process and see whether or not they would be able to meet the qualifications and the guidelines that ARP has set up. And that's the key to the whole thing, because if it's not done properly and funding is not put in place only for items that would be qualified under the program itself, then it would be our responsibility to take and pay back the money, which
Right.
we don't want to put, it's not our money, it's taxpayer money.
Right.
We don't want to put the taxpayers in that position. So like I said, we've appropriated roughly 25 now, but we have other things in pipeline that we're also working on at the same time, which we'll probably be addressing sometime after April once the budget is adopted. But the 25 million we're talking about, I mean, it's going to very good use. We're putting in a lot of social programs. We've got a lot of issues in the county now. Following COVID, there was certainly a lot of
Right,
mental issues
right.
and a lot of homelessness, stuff like that. So we put a lot of money into human services, social service programs. We've also taken and allocated, I think it's roughly around $8 million to the beach replenishment program, which is going to occur from Bay Head down to Seaside Park.
Right.
Originally, we've been involved in that process over the years numerous times. And we've always had an agreement with the towns that we would cover 50% of whatever the town's responsibility was.
Right.
But this time around, being that we have the ARP money available, the commissioners just felt the best thing to do was to take and fund that whole process and not put that burden on the taxpayers in the Bay, Bay Head to
Right.
Seaside Park,
Right.
Barrier Island towns. We have tremendous park systems. We have, you go around the country, there's plenty of federal parks.
Sure, sure.
And we just didn't feel that since we had the money, it was right for the taxpayers in those small communities to have to foot that bill. So fortunately, we're going to cover that whole cost, which is a real plus to a lot of municipalities because it gives them the ability to take and fund other things in their own
Right.
communities. And the other caveat to that is, being that we are only handling the northern part of the county, we also have to make sure that we take and allocate enough money to be able to handle the southern part of the county, Long
Right.
Beach Island and south.
Right.
Or I should say from Barnegat Light all the way down to Holgate. So we've made a commitment that when the beach replenishment gets done down there, those towns are going to be treated exactly the same way. So it's not it's federal money that we got, and we want to make sure that we spend it in the right way. So
Right.
we've got a lot of good ideas.
Okay, and we're actually going to take a quick break. So
Sounds
we're going to
good.
be right back here on Ocean County Focus.
When it comes to getting around Ocean County, Ocean Ride is ready to serve you. Hi, I'm Freeholder Gary Quinn. Ocean Ride is a service of the Ocean County Board of Chosen Freeholders that provides a host of transportation alternatives to Ocean County residents. If you need to get to a doctor, if you want to take a trip to the shopping mall, or if you rely on public transportation to get to work, we have the solution for you. For more information on Ocean Ride services and bus schedules, call 732-736-8989 extension 4 or visit our website. Try Ocean Ride. We'll get you where you need to go.
the Ocean County Board of Commissioners, working to make Ocean County a better place to call home and a special place to visit.
Welcome back to Ocean County Focus. My guest today is Gary Quinn. He's the Deputy Director of the Ocean County Board of Commissioners. Gary, when we went to break, we were talking about various funding elements that are in the county, the 2023 county budget, and we were talking about the American Rescue Plan Act money. And I just wanted to go back to the allocation for beach replenishment, because there's sometimes controversy with that. People are not comfortable with spending that kind of money, thinking, well, where's it really going? But
Sure.
I wanted you to maybe address the tourism side of it and the protection side of it as to why the county would do something like this.
Of course. Yeah, I mean, I think most people, when they look at the county, they realize tourism is probably our biggest industry. And it's, when we see the numbers grow from the spring until the fall, the amount of people coming into this town, the amount of dollars that are coming into this town, people that own beachfront homes, people that own homes along the barrier islands themselves, it creates a tremendous amount of dollars for the county, and it's certainly our obligation to take and make sure that we continue to have these things available. Without the beach replenishment projects, the areas would really become a difficult thing to be able to use. I remember going back 10, 15 years ago, the beaches had shrunk down to the point where you couldn't even go on the beach. They were so small. So fortunately, with the federal government doing the projects the way they have been over the last, probably 10 years or so, it's an ongoing, consistent thing. It's frustrating because you can't control Mother Nature, and you could take and spend millions of dollars, and in a matter of 6 months, that could be gone. But we feel it's our obligation. The barrier islands are very, very important to us. If you look at the homes built along barrier islands, there's a tremendous amount of money over in the barrier islands where people invest. And it's not only our obligation to make sure the beaches are available for tourists when they come down here, but to make sure that the people that live in these homes are protected.
Right.
And that God forbid there's a bad storm, that the homes have the protection they need to be able to, get through these storms and never have another Superstorm Sandy, affect the county. So
Sure.
and like I said, we spend a lot of money on parks, and and the parks are open to everybody in the county. Throughout the state, we get people coming throughout the state, and that's no different in our eyes than our beaches. And we're going to do everything we can to take and protect them. So.
Sure. I wanted to talk to you too about some of your departments that you serve as liaison to. The 2023 budget, I believe, has a total amount of about $81 million appropriated for law and public safety.
Correct.
What are the challenges that you're finding within these departments to make sure they are funded properly? And again, are they being affected by the difficulty in getting employees and that sort of thing? Yeah,
I share, we kind of split some of the law and public safety between Commissioner Kelly and myself, but I actually oversee Sheriff's Department, prosecutors, the ones where the most staffing is involved. And we've appropriated over $80 million to get us through the year, but unfortunately, it's not always the money that's the issue. It is just like you say, the staffing. In the world we're living in now, it's very, very difficult to get people that want to go into law enforcement as opposed to what it was 20 years ago.
Sure.
And even the ones that we have working in law enforcement, most of them are putting in their 25 years and they're out the door.
Right.
They're not staying like they used to, and being able to have a lot of veteran officers is no longer the case. There's funding in there to hire new officers and new people in the prosecutor's office, but I have to say it's been very difficult to get them.
Right.
And unfortunately, a lot of times when we get them, we take and lose them pretty quickly to the municipalities, because what we're facing is no different at the local level in municipalities when it comes to the local police departments. And I tell people all the time, I don't begrudge these young men and women, when they take and leave us to go to the communities that they live in, because it's a career to them. They want to work where they live, they want to work where their families are. But we just unfortunately have to take and find a way to overcome that hurdle. And in the last 2 or 3 years, we haven't been able to do it. But, so I mean, the funding is there. We're going to try and we have some new ideas this year that we're going to try and use. A lot of times, civil service guidelines restrict us on what we can do because of civil service restrictions that come into play.
Sure.
But we're going to hopefully work harder to be able to get more people on staff and be able to do it, because I mean, just taking into account the Sheriff's Department, basically is there to support all 33 municipalities.
Right.
And they do a tremendous job, but, they go from Bayhead out to Plumstead, all the way down to Little Lake Harbor, Tuckerton area. So they're covering a huge amount of area, trying to make sure that they're backing up the police departments, as well as the prosecutor. The prosecutor's doing the same thing. They're covering all these towns.
Right.
So it's such an important part of county government, which a lot of times people don't realize how involved, they are. The sheriff has done a fantastic job over the last couple of years bringing the county forward with technology, with all the different things that we have available to us now, the tools we have available to try and fight crime. But unfortunately, crime is consistently getting worse and worse, and between cars being stolen, catalytic converters, break-ins, I mean, it's just a very different world that we're living in right now, and people are afraid, and we got to do everything we can to make sure we protect them. So we're going to do what we have to.
And actually, the Sheriff's Department is quite a wide umbrella if you look at the amount of areas that they are involved in. I mean, I think before people just thought, well, they just take care of the courts and that sort of thing. But as you had said, they're involved with 33 municipalities. Another big function of the Sheriff's Department is also emergency management. I mean, maybe you could talk a little bit about their role during the pandemic, where it wasn't just providing security. They were collecting PPE and helping out with vaccines and that sort of thing. And again, like I said, I don't think people realize the extent of their...
OEM, plays a major role, and the sheriff, has a very close relationship with the OEM staff. I mean, I think we have a meeting tonight with OEM because, not only the items that you talked about, but they oversee, anytime there's any kind of an emergency, they're out there right away. They deal with EMS. EMS is another major problem that we're having in the county because a lot of the towns are now starting to have difficulty staffing their people, getting people to run their ambulances. So the Sheriff's Department is unfortunately put in a position where they're playing more and more of a role in that thing. And don't forget, we have over 200,000 seniors, and the highest veterans population, which puts more of a need for those types of services. But the Sheriff Mastronardi and his staff, they're involved in every aspect of it, and not necessarily always being able to solve the problem, but being able to coordinate with all the different municipalities to try and help each other out. Which is really, sometimes you're juggling balls in the air trying to make sure it works. But it's the job, it's the obligation of the county to try and make sure we do all these things for the people that live here. They moved here for quality of life and services, and we have to make sure we provide that.
Right, and I know that, again, you work very closely with the sheriff.
Yeah.
He is a very forward thinker when it comes to providing new programs. Are you looking at anything new for this year, or are you just trying to keep it almost status quo?
The sheriff is probably the most proactive person I've ever seen in all my years in government. He's always looking at new stuff. He's constantly calling up with new ideas, and this year, there are a few things on the drawing board which we haven't really dug into yet. He's really at this point fighting to try and make sure he can maintain everything that he's doing, that he has been doing. The growth in the northern part of the county is tremendous, which is putting a lot of burden on him to be able to take and provide a lot more services up in the north. I have to say, he's a gentleman that doesn't sleep. I mean, the sheriff at Frock, we're very fortunate to have him because he lives and breathes this job, and it's not unusual to be hearing from him at 2 o'clock in the morning when there's something going on around the county. So he's definitely an asset to the county and to all the residents that live here. So.
And we're actually going to take another quick break, and we're going to be right back here on Ocean County Focus.
The Ocean County Board of Commissioners encourages residents to recycle right, with information from their all-new educational guides. This information provides guidelines for everyday recycling, as well as how to dispose of bulky and potentially dangerous hazardous waste. This information is available at every municipality's town hall, library, recycling center, and at the County Connection inside the Ocean County Mall. The Ocean County Board of Commissioners, working to make Ocean County a better place to live, and a special place to visit. The Ocean County Board of Commissioners, working to make Ocean County a better place to call home, and a special place to visit.
Welcome back. Commissioner, when we went to break, we were talking about talking about law and public safety in Ocean County and the current budget appropriation for it. And I also wanted to talk to you in this last segment about another area that you're involved with, and you serve as liaison to the Ocean County Veteran Services Bureau. Ocean County has the largest veteran population in the state of New Jersey. How does the budget affect that bureau this year?
Yeah, we do have as I said, the largest veterans population in the entire state of New Jersey, and we've fortunately, I guess in about the last 2 years, we've made a lot of changes in the Veterans Office here in the county, and restaffed it with some different people, and the office is absolutely doing a phenomenal job. They are really doing a great job making sure that the veterans that are out there realize we're here. They're going out to different communities on a regular basis. They're bringing veterans into the office. We actually have 2 offices up and running right now. We have our office up in the northern part of 1027 Hooper Avenue, and we also have an office down in the Southern Resource Center, which a lot of people didn't even know existed. Phil Zimmerman, who's my director up there, has taken and put a lot of staffing down there now and made it very public to the people in Southern Ocean County that this is a place you can go. A lot of the vets can't travel all the way to Toms River, and it's a convenience for them, and they were able to go in there and sit with the VSOs and work with them. The nice thing is, when I see the numbers come in, the number of claims that they've been able to close out in the last year and a half is probably 4 times what it was the year and a half prior to that.
Oh, that's great. That really is great, because veterans seem to just come up against such walls when they're trying to get these claims in.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice because a lot of vets don't realize the number of programs out there that they could really get involved in and qualify for. And our message is, we're here for you. We're here to do everything we can to make sure we get every dollar you're entitled to. Unfortunately, the federal government is going to throw every kind of red tape in front of them and try and slow down the process. And that's not right. I mean, these men and women, fought for us in the different conflicts over the years. And it's our obligation to make sure that we take care of them. We had a vet yesterday that Phil was telling me about that was 95 years old that's been fighting a claim for 10 years trying to get this claim closed out. And yesterday morning we found out that the claim is closed out. He's getting every dollar he's entitled to.
That's so wonderful.
But he shouldn't have had to wait that long. I mean, at the end of the day, there should not be red tape, slowing these processes down. So, it's really a great, department as far as I'm concerned. The other thing I like to mention is, and we brought it up yesterday at the meeting, Phil has gone out now and made arrangements with the college, Ocean County College, because the college has a lot of young veterans that are going to school currently up there. There is an office, veterans office in the college campus itself, and Phil has made arrangements where we're going to start sending some of our people up there 2 days a week now to be able to service the vets that are up there, because a lot of these young men and women that are going to school there, they're going to school part-time, but they're also working full-time jobs.
Sure.
And they're not always able to get to our office during the regular business hours. So, we want to do everything we can to make it as easy for the vets to be able to take and get the services that they're entitled to, and make sure that whether it be the veteran or whether it be the veteran's family, they get what they were promised and what they're entitled to moving forward. So it's something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, and that's really a great idea to combine it with the college, because so many of them, once they are no longer enlisted, they do come back and they're looking for college, and they're looking for that career and that sort of thing. So I would think that having a veteran service officer there would be really a big benefit.
It should work out beautiful, and the college has been great in welcoming the idea and opening their doors to us to be able to take and utilize some of the space up there. So I think it's going to continue to take the numbers higher and higher as far as our success rate goes moving forward. So it's a good thing.
It really is good outreach. I mean, how will the office at 1027 Hooper Avenue, the Veteran Services Bureau there, I mean, you're going to be connected right to the new VA clinic that's being constructed in Toms River. How will that work together?
Yeah, we have right now our building. We're building a new building up there at 1027, and the Veterans Office. That'll be our main office. We'll still have the office down in southern part of the county as well as up to college, but it's going to be very important because of the fact that with the VA hospital there, our office works hand in hand with a lot of the VA benefits through the hospitals themselves. In addition to that, we're also going to have Congressman Smith moving into that same building,
Right,
which is
right.
a very important piece of the puzzle because Congressman Smith certainly, works for the federal government, making sure that all these veterans get what they need. So it's going to be kind of like a one-stop shop where the veterans should not be receiving the runaround. I mean, the VA hospital in Brick has been great over the years. I mean, there's no question
sure.
about it. They serve great, done a great job serving the veterans, but it's outgrown itself.
Right.
And the new hospital up here, which they're going to be building, I think, which is under construction now and not too far from being completed, is going to be a great asset to not only one-stop shop, but also to a lot of people that don't have the ability to take and get there without mass transportation.
Right.
And that's something we also have the ability to provide, through our transportation system in the
Right.
county. So it's I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully by this time next year, everyone will be in the new buildings and it'll be up and running. So.
Right, and talk about a great segue. I also wanted to talk to you about the transportation system that the Board of Commissioners funds, which is Ocean Ride.
Ocean Ride, yeah.
How does that work? I mean, I know that affects really. The focus really can be on seniors, veterans.
Yeah.
But it also affects the resident who's out there. It's trying to get to
Sure.
a job or to shopping and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that and how that's
How it plays out? Yeah, yeah. We have Ocean Ride. Has not only their individual trips that you can take and call and book every day, which over the last year we actually serviced 200,000 people with those individual trips. But we also have 11 regular bus routes which travel around the county to areas like Cooper Avenue and different areas where whether it be a vet, senior citizen, or anybody basically can get on the bus and find a way to get there. So it's probably one of the greatest assets that people have in the county to be able to move around, because a lot of the seniors that move down here, unfortunately, as they get older and they age out, they don't have the ability to drive. The family's not necessarily in the area,
Right.
And this really provides an avenue for people to be able to get out and still, whether it be food shopping, a doctor's appointment,
Right.
Going to the nail salon, whatever they
Right.
have to do. It gives them the ability to continue to do that and continue to have the quality of life that they look forward to having, and not being locked into a house all the time.
Right,
So.
because they could tap into a reserve ride, and they could. Then there's the regular bus stops.
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
will.
You can call up and make a reservation with Reserve a Ride, and it goes on the schedule, and the bus will come right to your house, pick you up, bring you to wherever you want to travel throughout the county, and they'll come back and pick you up and bring you back home again.
And going back to the veterans too, I mean, they kind of overlap with each other.
Yes,
Where
yeah.
Ocean Ride really does assist a lot of our veterans to
Correct.
get to even if it's going to our Veteran Services Bureau or to provide them with other help.
Oh yeah. The veterans, seniors, everyone's treated the same, and we actually, a lot of times during the Veterans Day and different functions like that, our buses will be picking people up just to bring them to these events because
Right.
they should be there. It's certainly we're very proud of these men and women that have fought for us, and we want to do everything we can to take and provide these services to them moving forward. So
We have about a minute left.
yeah.
What's your statement or message to the residents of Ocean County for this particular year and for this budget season?
I think moving forward, as far as the budget goes, I think it's a great budget. I think we certainly have hit on all the items that we have to hit on. We're going to be able to take and continue funding, providing the services that we provide throughout the county. We're living in difficult times. I mean, the economy's really not doing well. The inflation, everything is kind of up in the air right now. But I think people have to realize that county government is going to continue to be as conservative as we possibly can. I always tell people it's not our money, it's not our checkbook, it's your
Right. checkbook,
and we're spending the money. It belongs to you folks. So we'll do everything we can to provide the services, but as cheaply as best we can when it comes to spending the dollars. But the outlook for the county is good. I think we're going to continue to see it grow. Housing, even though around the country a lot of housing is dropping in value, Ocean County is not seeing that.
Right.
We're still a county where people want to come and move to. We're expecting a great summer season this year again. Unfortunately, we're probably going to be facing a lot of issues when it comes to labor force again, which I know they're working on right now through the tourism office, trying to find ways to be able to get labor. But hey, people move here for the beautiful things that we offer, whether it be our beaches, our parks, the different things we have around the county. And I don't think that's going to stop. I think you're going to continue to see people come down here, and as we go forward, traffic's going to get a little worse, but we're doing everything we can to try and address that as we move forward throughout every town. So,
Well, we certainly appreciate that message,
Yeah.
and we thank you for watching us today here on Ocean County Focus.